Hello and welcome. So I am taking a screen recording from how I see it on my phone as I'm flying the drone. At the minute I'm just adjusting some video settings to make it a bit more in line with another YouTuber, this is Matt Johnson, who records in a different format called D-Log, and just so I can play around with some video editing. So I'm just sort of trying to match his settings. So when I take it into Premiere Pro, I can manipulate the colour a little bit better rather than using the built-in colour profile on the MAVIC. So there you go, I've changed it to D-Log, which is a very flat image which gives you a lot to play with when you adjust the colour gradients and add a LUT profile. It's just taken off and I'm just going to focus the camera a little bit. We'll have to do that again. Really nice day in the woods today actually, good sun, and I think I'm going to sort of try and take off again so I can get the leaves, because I like the leaves taking off. So
take off. The home point has been updated. Please check it on the map.
So already I've got the radar showing me 7 meters in front of me there are obstacles, and I've just taken it forward and realized, oh, I'm going pretty quickly, I won't be able to navigate this quickly. So I put it into tripod mode, which slows the drone down quite a lot. So pushing forward on the stick gives me a really gentle, smooth motion instead of slamming straight into the trees. So as you can see, I've got the obstacle avoidance system switched on, and my lights are lighting up, but I'm pretty much just walking behind the drone at the minute. So I'm half looking at the screen, half looking at the aircraft, and just trying to capture some very detailed shots of the floor, of the ground. But what I really want is some smooth motion. So some of it will be smooth and some of it will be jolty, but in the post-production process, I will chop out the clunky bits. So the actual final video I've got, if you haven't seen it already, is about 5 minutes long, and this is 17 minutes of footage I've taken. So it's pretty annoying actually having this obstacle avoidance system switched on, and a bit later on I turn it off and just try and fly a bit more carefully because it's really annoying. I get maybe 2 meters from the trees and I want nice close-up shots of the trees I'm going past. I want them to almost like it's in those old 3D films where stuff is coming out of the screen. I want to scroll past these leaves like you do here. I know I'm not going to hit them because I'm right behind the drone, walking behind it, but the avoidance system is going to kick off and beep at me and stop the drone to just a halt, which is good. It does work. It does stop the drone crashing into something in front of it. But when I want really minute controls and want to get really close, I am going to turn the obstacle avoidance system off. When I've been shooting sort of commercially for someone where I've been in, or where I've been in tight spaces, I do tend to turn it off because I can find it it does mess up the shot sometimes. So just trying to get really nice smooth footage around trees and trying to find a nice path. I haven't picked a path in advance for this flight. I've just sort of tried to follow the main tracks through the woods where people walk, because I imagine that will be the clearest path for the drone to fly through. So I've actually had to stop it there because I realised there is a branch in front of me, and I can't remember if I stopped the drone or if the avoidance system stopped it. I think I had to stop it because I realised you couldn't see that branch, so I think I had to stop and walk down to it and try and navigate around it, because at this point I'd flown down a hill and wasn't the few meters behind I was earlier. So I'm narrating this video on my iPhone, just using the iMovie app because, well, I'm on the go, so I don't have access to my laptop at the minute to import the footage. So I'm sort of doing it on the move. So if you hear some sort of background noise, I'm just in a room at the minute, so there's a computer in here and some building works outside. So if you hear that, apologies. I don't have the nice microphone today. So just going over some bike jumps here. So mountain bikers use these woods and trails to do some little jumps in, and throughout the woods there are little jumpy platforms and stuff for people to launch off. I thought I would just try and pretend the drone is a bike to get that sort of view. So this bit here is new in the woods for me. The woods it's an old quarry, and there's been mines here where they mine bathstone, and they've recently fenced off an area. So normally you could just sort of walk to this bit and if you're not careful just fall in, but they seem to have fenced it off. So I've got to a bit here where I'm not really sure where to go, and the obstacle avoidance, I want to get through these trees, is just stopping me. So it's at this point I think I need to turn off the obstacle avoidance because it is really annoying. I want to go around the trees or around the fence. And the other reason I turn off the avoidance is sometimes when you're flying in very bright sun, some light does trigger the avoidance system, so your drone will just stop mid-air when you're flying. So this is how you turn it off. So I'm just going to disable the avoidance system in the menu in the aircraft settings, and there you go. I still get the radar in front of me, which is some help. So you get the warning saying 3 meters in front of you there's something that's going to hit the drone, but now I can make these really tight turns without it getting in the way. And yeah, I got the message on my screen, fly with caution. I will. I can see everything the drone is doing. This is one of my favourite shots. I like to sort of fly and move the gimbal down, so move forward and then adjust the gimbal up or down and fly backwards or forwards to try and get a really interesting shot rather than this straight across or straight down or backwards. Flying backwards is another fun trick. I'm saying it like I invented it, but a fun way of flying. You get more of a reveal. So at the minute, looking at the settings on my screen, you've got the 17 minutes of battery life left, so you can see it sort of adjusts depending on how much power you're putting onto the drone. So that green bar heads down to the yellow H, which you can see along the top of the screen. Once it gets to there, that's when it will try and return to the home point of where it launched. But as I'm following it, I don't need it to do that, and I'm not going to be going more than a few meters away from me. Here are some of the quarries and caves that you used to be able to go into, but they have fenced them off. So I'll just explain some more. So that's what's on the screen. So from right to left, the 3 dots opens the menu. 63% battery left. That's 63% of battery in the drone, the flight time. The HD symbol and the signal strength bars indicate the transmission quality. So that is your viewfinder quality. So what the camera can see to the phone, to the remote, that is the quality of what I can see. It doesn't necessarily affect the recording quality because that is recording onto the SD card. And the slightly more important one is the signal to the controller, which again is full strength because I'm just meters away. The symbol that has gone red indicates the obstacle avoidance is turned off. Above the timer there, you've got the satellite counter, so it can see I've got 12 to 13 satellites tracking the location of the drone, so I know it's not going to get lost. And the mode, which is tripod mode, which again, as I mentioned earlier, slows the drone down, all the movements down. And the big green in-flight option. And you want it to say GPS on there, so it's tracking the drone. Otherwise it will say something like vision, so vision only, which is not fun to fly in. And then the DJI icon in the left hand corner takes you back to the home screen where you can go into the editor and things like that. Working down the screen, you've got the land button, which will just sort of land the drone. The return to home button below that will take the drone back to where it took off. And the red X will cancel me out of the tripod mode. And then I've got my map showing where I am. The distance from my home point, 126 meters. The altitude, which is minus 3.3 at the minute, because the altitude I took off, I'm going up and down sort of quarries and hills. It's lower than when I took off, so the altitude is the altitude compared to when you took off, which can vary quite significantly. So I've taken off on the top of a hill and flown down the hill, and it's been showing minus 20 meters. So I don't think the altitude indicator is a good indicator for showing how far you're flying off the ground, because which bit of the ground are you comparing it to? The H.S is the speed of the drone, so that's in kilometers per second, so very slow at the minute. And the visual positioning system, VPS, is showing me 0.5. Actually, I don't know what that does or why it's red. Then on the very bottom right, you've got the play icon. The blue dot that's going up and down the screen is the gimbal controls. So because I'm moving up and down, that shows me how far I can move the gimbal up and down. So I'm near the top. Then I've got the camera settings just under the stop and start recording button. So I've been recording for 12 minutes 25 seconds so far. And then a small button that switches between video mode and still photo mode. Above that, there is a focus bar, something to say that I'm recording 4K at 25 frames per second, and capacity of the memory card, 22 minutes of filming left. Again, trying to get a variety of shots of facing down and up and across and backwards. In the edit afterwards, I will play some of these shots backwards. I like to take them properly, flying backwards, particularly if there's traffic or cars. Oh, there's me. My big fluffy parka. So I like to film, if I'm flying backwards, I will likely play it that way, so you don't see cars move backwards or people walking backwards. But as I'm in the woods, there's nothing to indicate. If I reverse the direction of the clip, you wouldn't be able to tell. And I'm pretty much done here. I've recorded all the footage I want to take. I've come to sort of a dead end of this path. I know there's not too much along here, so I'm going to stop the recording in a moment. But I've had fun. I've had a nice walk in the woods, sort of taking this this footage. There's been hardly anyone about. I've seen a couple of dog walkers, but I've noticed them and they've noticed me, and I've avoided the dogs and made sure that if any have come close, I've taken the drone up or paused, so the dog doesn't bite the drone or it doesn't spook the dog, and sort of just being quite considerate of other people and try not to fly anywhere near them, really. There we go. I can't remember what I was doing here. I think I was just having a quick play about with some of the video settings, trying to adjust some of the white balance, I believe, but I couldn't quite remember how to do that. In hindsight, one of the things I would have adjusted and forgot to adjust was the sharpness. I don't think it was as sharp as it could be. And perhaps some of the contrast. I've also got a white balance setting of cloudy on, which is probably suitable for the woods. It is a cloudy day, but it is quite bright sunlight, and I'm not using a ND neutral density filter at all. I'm just using the normal MAVIC lens. I think here we are back to that fence again. I'm just sort of circling now. I've got nowhere else to go. And I think a lady with a dog comes up to me very shortly because it's quite an excitable pooch. Well, there you go. That is everything I saw on my phone as I was flying the drone. I hope it was reasonably interesting to you, and hope you tolerated my narration. Thanks a lot.
Landing.